All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the American Bow Hunter, the official podcast of PSE. I'm your host, Zach Plasica, and we've had a little bit of time, right? Let it marinate. The new bows have dropped, and there's been a really, really great response from everybody. So I'm doing a solo episode today. We're going to do a Q&A. I got a lot of questions that have been asked, and we're going to kind of go through them. You know, concerns, questions, lead times, performance. We're going to kind of break it all down for you guys today on the new bows from PSE, right? We've got the Decree, Mach 30, Mach 33, Mach 35, and Sicario, all with the new FDS cam. But before we get into that, there's a kind of a special announcement, right? PSE has going to be doing something called the Heritage Project this year, which is massive, right? And this is a pretty ambitious project. And it's all about giving back to the veteran community and then the hunting community. So what they're doing is they're going to be giving away 24 PSE Decree bows this year, 2 a month, right? 12 are going to veterans, 12 are going to community nominees. And it's a pretty unique project. And it's like I said, it's very ambitious, and it's just all about giving back and honoring those, you know, the veteran community, and then providing for the hunting community in general. I don't think there's ever been anything done like it. And it's going to be pretty impactful, right? But you've got to be nominated in order to be a part of this, right? So you've got to nominate somebody, someone's got to nominate you. And there's a couple ways you can do that. So you can do it via Instagram, right? You can go through and shoot a short 30 to 90 seconds video, you know, nominating whoever, telling, you know, their story, why you feel they should be nominated, why they're a good nominee for this particular giveaway. And then you will post it and you will tag PSE Bows on Instagram, and then you'll use the hashtag PSE Heritage Project. Right? That's one way of getting entered into or entering somebody into this year-long giveaway. The other way is by going directly to the website. So you can go to psearchery.com and you can find the Heritage Project tab, and you can go on there and you can do a submission as well. So there's a couple ways to enter somebody or nominate somebody into this giveaway. And like I said, they're going to be doing 2 of these bows each month for the entire year of 2026. And, you know, we're talking about PSE Decrees, and the PSE Decree is PSE's aluminum bow, which is an absolute banger of a bow. I've got one over my shoulder here, and just a fantastic bow. So awesome project. You know, it's just going to be really great giving back, and it's cool to see PSE doing something so big. So if you're interested in that, if you know somebody who you feel whether they're a veteran or just somebody in the hunting community that you feel like they're worthy of being entered into this, here's your opportunity, right? Go to PSE's Instagram account, tag PSE, use the hashtag PSE Heritage Project, do your little video, upload it there, or go directly to psearchery.com and do the user submission that way under the PSE Heritage Project tab. So it's great. It's a lot of bows, man. 24 bows, 2 a month for all of 2026. So super cool. Check it out. Head over to the website, psearchery.com, and get somebody submitted, or like I said, Instagram account. But back to what we're talking about. You know, this is a Q&A podcast, just me solo answering a lot of questions. I went through Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and I pulled a bunch of these questions, and, you know, I spoke with the guys at the factory and just wanted to get some information back to you guys, right? A lot of different questions that we're going to kind of cover and go through about the new bows, right? The launch was incredibly successful. The Sakario is, you know, the talk of 2026, I think, so far. I mean, just incredibly popular bow, a speed bow that does not shoot like a speed bow. Lots of questions on that one. And then, you know, the FDS cam in general. So I'll kind of go ahead and dive into these and we'll go through them one by one. And the first one was, why is the Mach 35 with the new FDS cam slower than the EC2 cam. And it's not actually slower. So the FDS cam was designed around the 941, not the 942 limb. So it's going to be most efficient and you get the most performance out of the Mach 33. But PSE's IBO used to be done a little bit differently, right? Now what they do is the number that is on the chronograph that they get, that is what they use. So true speeds, they used to do like a plus or minus 4 feet per second. They don't do that anymore. So it's the speeds that they are seeing are the speeds that are going up as far as IBO goes. And the Mach 35 they're saying roughly about 2 feet per second, actually faster than what the Mach 35 with the EC2 cam was. So I have not done a lot of shooting with the Mach 35. It's a big riser or just a long bow in general. It's a little bit more outside of my wheelhouse, but everybody that shot the bow or the Mach 35 has been completely, impressed with the new FDS cam on that bow. And I would say that holds true across the board for all of the bows that cam has been put on. So Mach 35 FDS cam, I think it's going from the EC2 cam. It's still a massive upgrade, still better performance. The draw cycle on it is incredible. It's a winner all the way around. Some of the other questions that we've got specifically about the FDS cam, right? So can the Evolve 30 be ordered with the FDS cam or retrofit my current Evolve 30 with the FDS cam? The answer to that is no, unfortunately. So I talked to the guys at PSE, and the FDS cam has not been tested for any of the older bows, right? It's not been tested on anything prior to the 2025 models. So if you take it upon yourself and you get an FDS cam and you install it on your older model bow, your Evolve 30 or 33, it's going to, you are liable for any damages. So it's just not been tested by PSE. So they do not encourage you to try it yourself. So that answers that question. That cam is not designed specifically for any of the bows prior to the 2025 bows. Fletching configuration suggestions for the Sicario. Right, when we look at the Sakario, that bow has an incredibly short brace height, right? 5¼ inches, I believe. So super, super short static brace height. What do you run into with that? Potentially some fletching configuration issues, right? Where those vanes may be just a little bit too long. They make contact with your rest, depending on the rest that you run, right? If your rest sticks a little bit further back from the riser, there could potentially be some contact issues that you just don't want. So pretty much anything under a 3-inch vane, you should be good to go. And again, this can kind of vary depending on the rest that you run. So if you run maybe like a ripcord ratchet rest that sticks a little bit further back, you might have some fletching contact issues with that particular rest. But it seems like with the Hamskis and stuff like that are integrated into the actual riser, as long as you have a 3-inch or less vane overall length, you shouldn't have any issues whatsoever with the Sakario. We've already seen a bunch of Sicarios go out, and everyone that's shooting them, we have not had anybody that's complained, or I haven't seen anybody that's complained about vane contact issues. It's very, very close, but they're getting away with it with no issues whatsoever. And that's even running like your AAE hybrid 26s, max stealths, stuff like that. They're a little bit longer. There hasn't been any issues with them. So that's the suggestion, run maybe a little bit shorter profile vane if you are having some contact issues. But for the most part, as long as your vane's under 3 inches, you should be good to go. Do you have to back limbs out when pressing the bow? So PSE advises you to back the limbs out 2 turns if you're putting a bow in the press. So that's coming directly from the factory. So they're saying if you are pressing your bow, it is recommended that you take 2 turns out of the limbs. So no big deal, easy to do. Back them out 2 turns, put it in the press the bow, take it out, put your turns back in. You should be good to go. I think the biggest question that has been asked this year is, a lot of people bought Mach 30s, Mach 33s, decrees, Mach 35s the previous year, right? 2025 with the EC2 cam. And everyone wants to know, are you going to be able to get the FDS cam? Can I just buy just the FDS cam? It's taken a little while, but PSE has finally released the FDS cam kits that you can buy to upgrade from your EC2 to the FDS cam, which is awesome, right? There's a couple different ways you can go about it. So you can buy their full kit, which is strings, cables, because you need new strings, cables, cams, and mods. Or if you wanted to, you could buy just the actual cams and mods and then get aftermarket strings from whoever your favorite string manufacturer is. So there's a couple ways you can go about doing that. So you don't got to buy a brand new bow to get this FDS cam. You can go ahead and upgrade to the new FDS cam just by buying the cam and mods themselves. So there's a couple ways you can do it. Go to your local shop. You can get them ordered and, do the swap over and get that nice new FDS cam, get it up and running, get that little bit more performance out of it. And what's the big thing with the FDS cam? Like, why is it such a hot cam? And it's amazing what they've done, because the EC2 cam was phenomenal, right? Like, easily one of the best cams, I would say, ever. I mean, as far as draw cycle goes, just consistency, back wall, valley, and performance, right? It just covers everything. It does it all. It's exceptionally well. Really, really tough to beat. Well, they came out with this new FDS cam, and you get more performance out of this cam, right? Somewhere around, depending on the bow that you're shooting, you gain performance up to 10 to 12 feet per second, depending on the bow that you're shooting. And not only that is the performance better, you don't sacrifice with draw cycle. That's what was really surprising, right? The draw cycle is as good, I would say, if not better than the EC2 cam, which is kind of hard to do, right? It depends who you talk to. I was told I'm not a good candidate to talk about draw cycle. But me personally, I've shot all of the bows, and I would say it is equivalent to the EC2 cam as far as draw cycle goes. And on like the 33, I think it's even better, and the speed is greater on top of the improvements that they made in the cam, right? So they've recessed the post on the actual cam itself, so it sits a little bit further in. So the cable, where it attaches, the load is distributed a little bit better, more evenly on the actual axle. And then the big change that they did was the let-off options, right? You go from 70 to 85% let-off options, and the actual draw stop has been improved. And I think this improvement was massive, right? You guys remember on the EC2 cam, the draw stop, it had that little piece of rubber that would go in, you would fall out, you would lose it. Most of the bows that I've seen would come in, it wouldn't have it in it anymore. Well, they've gone away from that. It's a solid one piece that's flush, that is just a much, much better draw stop than what was on the EC2 cam. So massive upgrade, in my opinion, when you go to this FDS cam all the way around. Performance, draw cycle, just overall build, design of the cam. It's just fantastic. So the FDS cam, I think, is definitely worth it. And if you're, we're kind of on the fence about, going from the EC2 cam to the FDS cam, I think particularly in like the Mach 35, the Mach 33, the EC2 cam to the FDS cam is probably the biggest upgrade that I've seen on that particular model. It's just efficient. You gain more performance out of it. The draw cycle is as good, if not better. And you can do that now. You can buy these FDS cams on their own and upgrade from the EC2 cam. So to answer your question, you can do it. PSE has finally released it. I know they had to catch up as far as production goes, right? They had to prioritize all the new bows going out, but they're in a position now where you can buy the FDS upgrade package and upgrade your bow. So good stuff all the way around. Is PSE going to make a new aluminum bow? Yes, potentially, but not right now, right? The decree is still in the lineup. The aluminum bow is not going anywhere. I think this is one of the bows that I wish that there was a bigger push behind from PSE. It's a 31.5-inch axle to axle bow with the new FDS cam. It's got an IBO of 347 feet per second, smoking fast, right? It's the only issue that some people have with it, which I would say there's also pros to it, is it's a little bit heavier. It's right at, I think, 4.65 pounds. And it's a little bit heavier of a bow for an aluminum bow at a 31.5-inch platform. It's not terrible by any means, but it is on the heavier side. But I will say with that little bit heavier platform, it holds on target extremely well and it is incredibly accurate. And with that FDS cam, the performance is unreal on it. It just shoots really, really good. You get phenomenal speeds out of the bow. So I built one. Let me see if I've got the speeds here. I want to see some numbers on the FDS cam on the Decree. Yeah, I got a note here, right? So I built a 465 grain FMJ Max. The bow set up at 28.5 inches, 70 pounds. With that 465 grain arrow, I'm getting 282 feet per second out of that bow, which that's a heavy arrow in my opinion at that draw length and that draw weight. And to be getting those speeds, we know the sweet spot as far as like a bow hunter goes, tuning wise, 280s to like low to mid 290s. The bows just tune extremely well, incredibly forgiving. And that bow puts up killer speeds in that platform. The Decree is a slept on bow in my opinion. It's just a really, really good shooting bow. Holds really well, aims really well. Post shot feel is fantastic. I mean, look back at 2025 Outdoor Life bow of the year, right? The Mach 30 won it previously. 2025, the Mach 33 won it. But when we looked at the accuracy test that was done, the Decree was the most accurate platform out of any of the bows that were shot. All the bows that Outdoor Life lined up and shot next to each other, when it came to accuracy, grouping out to 50 yards, the Decree was the clear winner with the Mach 33 behind it, right? So PSE bows are deadly accurate, just very easy to shoot bows. And what's surprising about the Decree is it's a 31.5-inch axle to axle bow. It outshot your 33s, 35s, and whatever else was in the lineup. Just an incredibly good shooting bow. So that bow is in the lineup to stay for this year. And you know, the thing about it is it's more, you've got your premium carbon bows, right? Which we know they're $2,000 bows. And then you've got the Decree that falls in line with all your other flagship bows at that same price point. And you get an incredible bow. The finishes on it are fantastic. The color options, everything integrates. You can run a pick mount sight on it if you want. You can run your IMS rest in it. It's got your FDS cam. It's got the Easy 220 shim system. It's a killer bow. It's really been slept on. And if you haven't shot one, I encourage you to get in the shop and test one out because it will really impress you. The draw cycle on alone is incredible. I mean, like I said, I set that one up at 28.5 inches, 70 pounds, and it's slinging that 465 grain arrows at 282 feet per second. So if you wanted to shoot a little bit faster, drop down to that 440 grain arrow mark, which is still a heavy arrow, and that thing is going to be smoking fast. So Decree, don't sleep on it. It's fantastic, but they're not looking at bringing out anything new in the aluminum lineup, I think, until 2027. So we'll see what they bring from there. Their past aluminum bows has been awesome, right? The Evolve 30s, Evolve 33s. I had into 33. Again, a little bit on the heavier side, but when it comes to accuracy, you're just not going to outshoot them. They just shoot exceptionally well. Very, very good shooting bows across the board. And I think, honestly, like the aluminum bow, even though it's a little bit heavier, everyone's a fan of the carbon bows, right? They're incredibly light. But there's something to be said about a little bit heavier bow. It just holds really, really well. I'm a fan. You know, I've got the Mach 30s. I've got the 33s. I've got a Decree now. I like it. As a whitetail hunter, somebody that's out of a stand, out of a blind, even off the ground, man, 31.5-inch axle to axle nails that sweet spot. And it's just a good do-all bow for me, especially at a 28.5-inch draw length. So check out the Decree. Can you buy the new FDS cams? Yes, you can, but they do not fit for the older bows. So we're talking about pre-2025 bows. Here's a pretty good question. Currently shooting the Levitate with the S2 cam. Levitate, phenomenal bow, right? S2 cam, rough though. Should I go with the Mach 33 or the Sicario? And I talked to a couple different people, right? I called up some of the guys from the factory, I talked to Cooper, and pretty much everyone was on board with Sakario, right? So you're going to get the same speeds, if not better. The S2 cam was fast. And you get a longer effective brace height and a much, much better draw cycle, right? The S2 cam is, dude, that cam was rough. It was, in my opinion, it was good on some of the longer bows, but like the levitate and stuff, it was just super, super aggressive. But you did get the speeds out of it. It was fast. So it was like I think Cooper said, it's like pulling a truck back. But you do get with the Sicario, you're going to have a better draw cycle, better performance. And dude, everyone's asked, like, how does the Sicario shoot at distance? Is it actually going to be, are you going to be able to shoot it accurately at distance? Everyone we've talked to, including some of the guys from my shop who own Sicarios now, they say the thing shoots lights out, 60 to 80 yards, super tight groups, no issues whatsoever, which is, you know, really saying something, right? When we talk about the Sicario, it's a speed bow. Everyone knows a speed bow from the past. When you look at speed bows, like, ugh, aggressive, rough, unforgiving, just not a fun bow to shoot. And that Sicario has completely changed how you think speed bow, right? It's got that super short brace height, 5 1/4 inch, but the effective brace height, the full draw stability that PSE has, and then their new FDS cam all work in sync to make this bow incredibly good shooting platform, even out to distance. And yeah, I was a little skeptical at first, I think as most people were. You know, you shoot it and you're like, wow, it shoots really, really good, but you know, how's it shoot at distance? That's the big question. And I can confirm, and I'm talking about normal guys, right? Where I'm not talking about dudes that are like stellar, like over the top good shooters. I'm talking about your normal run of the mill bow hunters who just get after it and enjoy shooting bows, have been accurately shooting the Sicario and have praised how well it shoots. So there's something to be said from that. And I'm not talking one guy, I'm talking a handful of dudes that we've interacted with, because I've seen a lot of Sicarios go out the door already. It's been the demand for that bow has been incredibly high. And everyone I've talked to so far has been incredibly impressed with how well it performs and how well it shoots at distance. So levitate with an S2, Mach 33 or Sicario. If you want the speed and performance, you know, in that flat trajectory, that fast bow, go with the Sicario. That's going to be the move. But if you do want something that is maybe not the same speed, still incredibly fast, but just an overall less, more forgiving platform, the Mach 33 with the FDS cam is going to be it. I personally really like the Mach 33 with the FDS cam a lot. It just shoots extremely well. The draw cycle is great. But you know, you definitely get more performance out of that Sicario, and everyone we've talked to said it shoots just incredibly well. So if that's what you're after, performance and speed, Sicario, no questions. Someone said, why does it seem like the Mach 33 isn't much faster? I don't know why, or where you're seeing it's not much faster. So we did all of our testing, or I've done all my testing, and on average with the Mach 33, we got the most performance gain with the cam out of any of the other bows between the Mach 30 and 35, right? So we averaged on average, we had a 10 to 12 feet per second gain going from the EC2 cam to the FDS cam. So on top of that, you have over twice as much effective brace height over the EC2 cam. So the EC2 cam at 29 inches is a 5/8 of an inch effective brace height gain. The FDS is a 7/8 of an inch on top of the 5/8 of an inch. So you gain a full 1.5 inches in effective brace height over the EC2 cam. So there's all the way around on all these bows, you gain from speed to forgiveness in the platform, right? Effective brace height. That's where this thing really shines on top of the speed that you get. So not only are you gaining the speed, which we saw on the Mach 33 in particular, 10 to 12 feet per second is what we gained. The effective brace height is greater, making the bow just more forgiving. It's an easier shooting platform out the distance. That's why the Sicario shoots so accurately out the distance, is the effective brace height. We're not just looking at the static brace height anymore. The effective brace height is what really helps to improve the shootability of these platforms. And that's what PSE does so well. Performance-driven machines that just are incredibly easy bows to shoot. And these bows are designed for the bow hunter, right? And as a bow hunter, that's what you want. You want a forgiving platform, something that when you're in the heat of the moment, you know, everything's going on, emotions, adrenaline dump, you're trying to hold it all together, and you've got to make this shot under that pressure. That's where the PSE bows really, really shine. They're just easy bows to shoot and shoot accurately. So you definitely gain on the Mach 33 going to that FDS cam. So it is, in my opinion, if there's any bow worth going from the EC2 cam to the FDS cam, it is for sure that Mach 33. You gain everything and sacrifice absolutely nothing whenever moving to that particular cam. How's the Mach 35 with the new cam? Everyone I've talked to, especially the longer jaw guys, have said it's nothing but good things about it. But you don't gain the speed that you gain out of the Mach 33. But as far as draw cycle and everything else, everybody has done nothing but rant and rave about how good the draw cycle is on the FDS cam. Even with the little bit of performance that you do gain speed-wise on the Mach 35, the draw cycle's still there. Effective brace height is incredible. And then on top of the design with the let-off options and the recessed post on the actual cam, distributing that load a little bit more evenly, it's a no-brainer, man. Everybody has rant and raved about how good it is across the entire lineup, including the Mach 35. So the FDS cam on the Mach 35 is good to go. All right. What do we got? Is all the bows the same or different finishes? Are all the bows the same or different finishes? So they said all the same finish. However, the black coating has changed to apply more texture and similarity to the charcoal. So if you're familiar, like the black bows are a little bit smoother. They're adding a little bit of texture to the bows. Similar to what the charcoal has, which I'm a big fan of. I like a little bit of texture in the bow over just that slick look and feel. So that's one of the changes. Why did PSE get rid of the aluminum bows except for the decree? And why isn't PSE allowing the sale of cams separately? They are allowing now, finally, the cams sold separately. And the decree is just the only aluminum bow that they got in the lineup until what we're looking into, I guess, is 2027. I want to see the numbers on the FDS cam on the decree, which I said 465 grain arrow, 28.5 inches, 70 pounds, 282 feet per second, consistently scooting. Here's a good one, guys, right? 80-pound bows. You guys know, maybe you guys don't know, don't know me that well, but I'm a fan of 80-pound bows. I always have been. I think there's a place for them, and there's a lot of people that enjoy shooting them. And one of the questions was the Sicario in 80 pounds, right? Like, how is that? It's a lot, I can tell you. It's still, the FDS cam on it it's stiff at 80 pounds. I mean, no surprise, right? It is stiffer than any of the other bows at 80 pounds. But boy, does that thing absolutely pound. It is fast. So 80-pound Sakario, I actually just shot it again this morning. I was messing with it in my shop. And because I was curious a little bit more. I was like, oh, man, I've shot it a couple times, but I haven't put it through the chronograph. So I decided to put it through the chronograph. And Sakario, 80 pounds, 29 inches with a 443 grain arrow. Any guesses on the speed? 325 feet per second. I got a range between 322 and 325. 443 grain arrow at 325 feet per second at 29 inches of draw length, which is crazy. You have to, the Sakario, like, in my opinion, like, you have no choice but to run a heavy arrow. Like, because especially like if you want that bow shooting like 280s to like 290s, like, you've got to shoot a missile through that thing because it's just so much speed and the performance is just out of this world. It's crazy. Right? If you're for like tack, like, you could shoot a light arrow. That thing would be like, I can't even imagine the sight tape you'll get out of that thing. If you ran like a 420 grain arrow at like 29 inches, 80 pounds, dude, your sight, you could reach another county with that sight tape. It's crazy, man. The 80-pound Sicario, it's definitely stiff. I'm not going to deny that whatsoever. It's stiff. It's pretty stout, but boy, does it put up some unreal speeds. Crazy. Again, 29 inches, 443 grain arrows, 325 feet per second. Smoking fast. Actually unbelievable. So if you haven't shot an 80-pound Sakario and you're interested in it, I would encourage you to check one out. It'll scoot. The 80-pound option, I think, in the Mach 33 is really, really good. Even in the Mach 30 with the FDS cam, it's very manageable. I say that. It's, as far as 80-pound bows go, it's a good drawing cam at 80 pounds and the speeds are there. So if you're interested in those high poundage options, PSE does offer the bows in 80 pounds. You can definitely get them. And, they perform well. So, but if you're getting with the Sicario in 80 pounds, be prepared to hold on to that bad boy because it's a long way for that arrow to travel, and it's a pretty stout cam. And that's the cool thing about the Sicario though, man. Like you don't have to shoot a heavy poundage bow whenever you go with the Sicario. Like you could realistically drop down to 60 pounds on that. If you're a 70 pound dude normally, go with a lower poundage option and still get a ton of performance and speed out of it and shoot what you were probably shooting out of your other bow, right? And get more performance out of it. So, and the draw cycle on it is incredible. Like I shot, Tom, the CEO's, of PSE, I shot his Sicario. It was at 58 pounds and, it was like 29 or 29 and a half inches and, just incredibly smooth. So if you're somebody that's maybe a shorter draw length or someone that struggles a little bit, wants to shoot a heavier arrow faster, like the Sicario is going to be a great option for you. It is. Even at that lower poundage, it just really performs well. And with the effective brace height, with the cam design, it's just a very easy bow to shoot considering what it is, right? Speed bows are typically, I would never encourage a new shooter, like somebody who doesn't spend a lot of time behind a bow to shoot a speed bow. Like it's just, I've never recommended. Sicario, I mean, realistically at a lower poundage is very forgiving for what it is. Not to say it's the perfect bow for a new shooter. I'm probably not. I would probably err more on like a Decree or something with a little bit more, effective brace height and static brace height. But, like if you're somebody that spends enough time shooting your bow and like the Sicario, as far as I'm concerned, it just shoots really well and it's very easy to shoot. So dude, at a lower poundage, a little bit heavier arrow, it's great. So if you're somebody that has a shorter draw length or wants to shoot a heavier arrow faster, like the Sicario, all the way around, no questions, it's going to be a great option for you. What else do we got? How is the Mach 35 with the new cams? Everybody loves them. Which is better, right? Sicario or the Mach 33, right? Both are 33-inch platforms. So which one is better? And I don't think one is necessarily better than the other. That's not a good question to ask. It's like, how do they both perform against each other? And I would say, based off specs alone, when you look at it on paper, the Mach 33 is going to be an easier bow to shoot over the Sicario. It's going to be, it's when you look at the specs on paper, the static brace height is greater. The effective brace height is greater. It's just going to be an easier bow to shoot. And I think if that's what you're looking for, like ultimate forgiveness and shootability in a platform between the two, both being 33-inch axle to axle bows, the Mach 33 is the clear winner, right? But if you're looking for performance, if you're looking for speed, if you're looking to shoot a heavy arrow fast, you spend time behind your bow, you shoot your bow enough, the Sicario is superior in that aspect. Like I said, it's a speed bow, but it does not shoot like a speed bow whatsoever. So I can't say one bow is better than the other. I think they both shine in different areas. And the Mach 33 being a easier bow to shoot all the way around, just based solely off the specs. But if you're somebody that's chasing speed or chasing performance and you want that heavier arrow that shoots faster, flatter, the Sicario is going to be the winner. So you can't go wrong with any of them, but I think you really need to take into consideration you and what your goals are and your shooting capability, right? And what are you doing? If your primary focus is like, shooting under pressure and, out hunting and, you don't spend a lot of time behind your bow as much as you probably should, the Mach 33 might be a better option for you. But going back to it, if you want the most performance out of a bow and it's a hybrid bow and you want to do everything with it, right? You want to shoot far total archery challenges with a good sight tape that can really reach out there and you want something fast, Sicario, clear winner. So both are great options. I would definitely encourage you to look at you and what your goals are before you make the decision on which bow to go with. Both are great options, but they both shine in different areas in my opinion. Somebody said, so a guy named Bernie, he said, I've had both rotator cuffs done and could never pull 70 pounds, but the Sicario was smooth at that weight. PSE is knocking out of the park again. Hashtag PSE for life. So there you go. There's another testament to the FDS cam, right? This guy's had both his shoulders, rotator cuffs, replaced or worked on, and he's shooting the bow at 70 pounds. So that says a lot, man. I think PSE does a really good job making bows for the bow hunter, right? Something that's very manageable, but just performs. And the FDS cam, like I said, the draw cycle on it is incredible, even on the Sicarios, which is their speed bow. You just would not expect that from a speed bow whatsoever. You expect stiff, harsh, aggressive, unfun to shoot. None of these bows are like that whatsoever, including the Sicario. So Bernie, appreciate your input. Glad the Sicario is treating you well. What else we got? Do you have to back the limbs out whenever you press the bow? Yeah, it's recommended to back them out 2 turns. PSE. Is PSE going to make another aluminum bow? Yes. Let's see. Lead times on the bows. So right now, lead times on the bows are roughly 4 weeks. So not bad whatsoever, considering the time of year we're in, right? Everybody's buying up new bows now. Lead times from PSE are at 4 weeks. So not too long, in my opinion. 4 weeks is pretty standard this time of year. Now, if you're going to like a custom build though, like riser, different limb color options, your lead time jumps up to about 10 weeks currently. Now, this can obviously change by the time this podcast comes out, but lead times for your average inline production bows, right, our standard color options is 4 weeks. Custom builds stretches it out to about 10 weeks. So kind of to be expected this time of year. I know some of the other manufacturers are pretty backed up, and some of their bows orders are not shipping till March. So PSE is doing a really good job staying up to date, and production times at the factory are down. So they've done a really, really good job keeping bows flowing, man. And I tell you, the bows look fantastic. As far as like tuning goes too, like some of the questions that I've had is like, how are these, with this new cam, with this, greater speeds, with the speed bow, like how are they going to tune? What are we seeing? What have I seen? Right. And everything is tuned exceptionally well. The Easy 220 shim system, I think, stands true. It's just a great system. It's very, very user-friendly. It's very fast. It's very effective, and it works well. So we had I've seen a couple Sicarios go out the door this week, and one in particular yesterday. It was 70 pounds, 28.5 inches. And I don't remember how heavy of an arrow he was shooting, but nothing crazy, run of the mill. But we did have to, based off how he was shooting, have to go to the 60-160 shim. I think for the most part, what I've seen, most bows going out the door on the Mach 30s and 33s were 80-140 shims. It seems like we always go from the 100-120 to an 80-140 for most people. With the Sicarios, I've seen more of 80-140s to 60-160 shims. So there is that, but they've tuned incredibly fine, incredibly easy, incredibly fast. I mean, make sure everything's level on the bow across the board. Set your center shot 13/16. Make sure you're obviously running the right arrow spine. It seems like 70-pound bow, 28.5 inches, 300 spine arrow, standard insert and stuff is tuned fine, going between 80-140 and then 60-160 shims. More so with 60-160 shims from some of the ones that we've seen go out the door. So still tuning on these bows, incredibly effective, incredibly easy, incredibly fast. No complaints there whatsoever. Don't sleep on PSE's accessories too, right? If you're getting a PSE bow, you might as well go with their accessory line. The kill shock stabilizers are fantastic. I think personally, I'm a big fan of them. And then you've got their 1- and 2-piece quivers, which mount on the bows, nice and low profile. So I personally like the 2-piece quiver. I'm a 2-piece quiver kind of guy. They look good. They mount well. They hold any of your different arrows as far as 4 mil, 5 mil, 6 standard diameters. The quivers work for all of them, so no questions there. And they accommodate any of the broadheads that you're running. So, the one thing I wish PSE would do that we need, a dang bow stand. That's my biggest complaint. PSE has nailed every single other thing, right? The biggest thing we need, the next thing is a bow stand. So if you're PSE, if you're listening, hope you are, let's see a bow stand come out for these things. That'll complete everything. You'll have it all. Aluminum bows, carbon bows, the works, right? And then the accessories to go along with them. So yeah, that's it, guys. Those are all the questions that I've seen come through. So to kind of sum it up, you can get the FDS cams now. So head to your local dealer, get them special order. You can order the full kit, whether you want them, with the complete package with the actual string and cables and the cams and mods, or you could potentially just order just the cam and mods and go with whatever custom string you want from your favorite string manufacturer. So there's that. How does Sakario perform? It shoots great. It groups really, really good at the distance from everyone I've talked to. As far as like fletching configuration issues, run a 3-inch or less vane out of them. You won't have any issues whatsoever with them. Aluminum bow, the Decree is an absolute banger. If you haven't shot it with the FDS cam, I highly encourage you to, because it's got an IBO of 347 and it's spitting out really, really good numbers and just shoots extremely well. It was the most accurate platform of 2025. So if you're sleeping on the Decree, don't. You're really missing out on a great aluminum bow. So check it out. Head to your local dealer. Shoot it. I encourage you to. Mach 30, 33, 35. Dude, 33 and 30 are still near and dear to me. Those are my two favorites, I think, with the Decree right in the mix. And then with the FDS cam, I think across the board, any of the platforms, you can't argue with it. Sicario, if you're a speed guy, if you want performance, if you want the latest and greatest, the fastest shooting bow that is accurate at this distance, no question, get the Sicario. You're going to absolutely love it. And then you long draw guys, right? You dudes that really want those long platforms, the Mach 35 still in the lineup. Got the FDS cam, more effective brace height, a little bit more performance over the EC2 cam. Get it. Lead times aren't bad. 4 weeks for special orders, 10 weeks for customs. So there you guys have it. Don't forget the Heritage Project, man. This is big. 24 PSE Decree bows are going out for 2026 to honor our veterans, 12 to veterans, and 12 to community nominees. Go in. Who in your life is important to you that you think is deserving of a new bow? Nominate them, man. Head over to Instagram, create a short video, tag PSE, use the hashtag PSE Heritage Project, or go directly to PSEarchery.com, find the Heritage Project link, and upload your submission there. PSE is going to be pulling winners, 2 winners every single month, promoting them, getting these bows to people, getting them into the right hands, and just giving back to the community. That's what it's all about. That's what PSE is doing. They're giving back, and they're doing it in a big way, right? So if you know somebody, nominate them, get involved, get somebody a new bow, man. I know it'll make their day. And they're going to be getting probably one of the best aluminum bows on the market for nothing. Just being nominated. So that's it, guys. As always, I appreciate you guys listening to, my first solo one with you guys. A little different, a little change of pace, but I wanted to answer a bunch of the questions that you guys had on the new bows since they've finally been released. And we had a little bit of time to sit and kind of see, what does everybody think? And the response has been absolutely fantastic. So if you've got any other additional questions, feel free, drop them in the comments, and, we'll do the best we can to answer any of them. That is it, my friends. As always, we appreciate you guys listening, following along. Head to your local dealer. Check out the new PSE Decree bow, PSE bow lineup, the Decree, the Mach 30, 33, 35, and of course the Sicario. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got to get back to work. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for listening. See you guys in the next episode of the American Bow Hunter, the official podcast of PSE. Peace.